So I opened up Twitter this morning and I saw this tweet from John Johnson. And I thought, all right, I guess he's looking for golf course recommendations in Arizona. And then it hit me. He's not talking about just going to the pool in Arizona next February. He wants to be playing in the Super Bowl, which is in Glendale, Arizona, for Super Bowl 57 next year. So if you want the Browns to play in the Super Bowl next year, go ahead and like this video. Let's talk it into existence. Let's make it happen. Hit that big thumbs up icon. That way we can make this a fact, a reality, and not just some of our lofty dreams. What's going on, Browns fans? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report. I'm your host, Matthew Peterson. Coming up on today's show, we're going to check out a Jarvis Landry rumor that maybe the Browns want to bring him back for the final year of his deal. We'll look at all the numbers and all that good stuff. And then we'll move on to the latest Todd McShay mock draft. See who he has the Browns taking at number 13. And then we'll wrap up the video by looking at a pretty crazy Matt Ryan, Baker Mayfield QB trade idea that The Athletic proposed. So all that's coming up. First, let's talk about Jarvis Landry. So this came out yesterday just after I put out the video for yesterday's video, which you should go check out, free agent targets. But anyway, and pretty big words right here. So More For You Cleveland said this. I was told by someone closer to the situation that they actually expect Jarvis Landry to stay one more year with the Browns, but this will likely be his last. Unsure if the team has approached his camp with any talks of restructuring his contract. He's due $16.3 million in 2022. One thing quickly, yeah, absolutely his last year in Cleveland, as that will be the last year of his contract. But as for whether the Browns want to keep Jarvis Landry and stay on the hook for that $16.3 million cap hit, or if they'd rather cut him and save nearly $15 million. For me, I think it really boils down to, do Andrew Berry and the Browns want to go out and make a big blockbuster signing? If they want to go out and get a Chris Godwin, an Allen Robinson, or a Mike Williams that's going to yield almost $20 million-ish in free agency, then I don't see a way Landry stays. But if the Browns look at the free agency pool this year and go, you know what, we've got to pay Denzel Ward. Either we're extending Baker Mayfield because he has a phenomenal season, or we got to go find a new quarterback. Let's actually save some money for 2023 and not make a big blockbuster signing. In that situation, I could see the Browns sticking around Jarvis Landry, because if you cut him, you're going to leave yourself pretty vulnerable at that wide receiver position between DPJ and Anthony Schwartz being wide receiver 1 and 2. Nevertheless, $15 million is a lot of money to save for the Browns. So let me know, do you believe Jarvis Landry will return for 2022? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. This is the pinned comment on today's show, so if a YouTube ad break comes on by, just scroll on down and give me a Y or an N. If this is the situation that the Browns have to decide between Jarvis Landry or signing Chris Godwin, I would take the Chris Godwin route. And I saw a pretty smart comment on my last video about free agent targets and about the Browns not wanting to maybe sign a big blockbuster wide receiver this offseason because they have to extend Denzel Ward most likely. I hope they do. Or they got to figure out who they're going to pay at QB going forward, because right now you're paying Baker Mayfield $18 million. That's pretty cheap as far as QBs go. So if that's the route where they go, you know what, we'd rather not go out and spend a lot of money on a wide receiver, then all right, yeah, I would keep Jarvis Landry, because what do I care if they spend Jimmy Haslam's money? It's not my money. But if the Browns do want to go out and get a guy and they're like, well, what do we do, Landry or Godwin? Yeah, I would pick Godwin over Landry. Don't get me wrong, I've loved Juice. I've loved what he has brought to the Browns organization. He has been the minister of culture for Cleveland the last 4 years. But this is a business, and unfortunately, got to make tough decisions. Next up on today's show, we're going to check out the latest ESPN's Todd McShay mock draft. See who he has the Browns taking at that number 13 overall spot. It's a pretty familiar name for Browns mock drafts because, drumroll please, yeah, Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State. You've probably heard this song before. He's been the most common pick for the Browns in mock drafts as far as I've seen, and I got no issue with that. I for one, would like to see some variety, mostly because it's just interesting to see different ideas and not the same thing. But I've also got no issue with going to my favorite restaurant and ordering the same meal over and over again. Garrett Wilson, in my opinion, he's the most well-rounded and polished wide receiver. Comparing to Jameson Williams, for example, major deep threat, excellent speed kind of receiver. But Garrett Wilson just does a lot of everything. He's got great body control, meaning he can go up and readjust in the air if the pass is not 100% on target. Which, let's be honest, sometimes Baker does tend to miss it by a little bit. So I like the idea of getting someone like Garrett Wilson who can adjust mid-route and go, oh, you threw it over there instead of over here. No problem, I got you. He's also a combination of a safe and smart pick, which sounds a little boring, but on the other hand, I have no issue with going safe and smart, especially when it lands you a guy like Wilson who had over 1,000 receiving yards in a loaded Buckeyes wide receiver room, 12 touchdowns to go along with it, and like I said, he just does just about everything, and he does it very well. It's not like he does everything, but everything he does is like a B grade. He does everything, and it's like an A grade. Maybe he doesn't get an A plus anywhere, but Garrett Wilson, he just, to me, seems like a can't go wrong pick. I don't see how this guy busts. Hopefully I don't get exposed for that freezing cold takes in a couple months or years. If the Browns were to draft Garrett Wilson, what would be your excitement level? Let me know on a scale of 1 to 100, 1 being, hate this guy for whatever reason, he bullied me in high school in Austin, 100 being, Garrett Wilson's my best friend, this is a no-doubter, please, please, please pick him. I lean towards the 90 range. I don't know if this is like 100 because there's just it's the NFL draft. It's a crapshoot. Nothing's a guarantee. And ESPN's Todd McShay, I believe, one time said, was it Mel Kiper? McShay said, Jimmy Clausen, Hall of Famer, can't go wrong. I will retire if this guy's a bust. And he was a bust. So it's a mock draft. It's an NFL draft. You never quite know anything for certain. So pencil me in for a 90. Before we get to the rest of today's show, I just want you guys to go ahead and subscribe to the Browns Report because we were almost at 5,000 subscribers. What is that? 100 and change away. So help a fellow Brownie out. Would really appreciate it. Love doing what I do here at Chat Sports. Hit that big red button, subscribe. That way you guys can get more Browns content throughout the entire off season. Speaking of Chat Sports, if you haven't already, check out our main channel. Check out the mothership, which has nearly 280,000 subscribers. So hit that big red button right there, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Head on over there for the latest mock drafts and trade rumors. We have live shows. We do it all here at Chat Sports. So if you have not checked out our main channel, make sure you do so by subscribing at youtube.com/chatsportstv. Coming up now, we'll look at a Matt Ryan trade idea to the Cleveland Browns. The Athletic was bored today, I think. That's probably the best way to put it. And I don't blame them. It's the middle of February. The Super Bowl is over. Myself included, we can sometimes go to the bottom of the barrel for some fun things to talk about. So the Athletic came out with this article of 10 bold trade ideas. And one of them was Matt Ryan going to the Cleveland Browns. So let's unpack this. Matt Ryan's got a $40 million dead cap hit for 2022. What does that mean? Whether he's on the roster or not on the roster, they have to pay him $40 million. So it's a little bit similar to that Carson Wentz move or trade from Philadelphia to the Colts, where the Eagles were stuck with this huge contract they gave Wentz, so you figured they can't move on from him. Well, they said screw it, and they traded him in $33 million, right? $33 million against the Eagles salary cap last year went to Carson Wentz on the Colts. So could the Falcons kind of follow that blueprint of, yeah, we know we have to, it would be a NFL record dead cap hit, by the way, eat $40 million, but we want to be bold and go for change anyway. It's bold for sure. I think it's highly unlikely either team wants to do this. I think from the Falcons standpoint, they don't want to eat $40 million, and it's not like Matt Ryan is a bad quarterback. And from the Browns standpoint, you're going to trade for a 36-year-old Matt Ryan, who no doubt has played some great football. In fact, he's had MVP caliber years and had an MVP season back in 2016. But Matt Ryan isn't an MVP anymore. I mean, compare that right there, 2016 to 2021. Across the board, declining. And sure, he doesn't have Julio Jones anymore. He didn't have a couple weapons like Deontay Foreman he had back then. Devontae, whatever it is, Foreman. Devontae Foreman, yeah. No, Deontay Foreman. I don't know. Freeman. I'm thinking of the Titans running back. Anywho, so he's regressed in a lot of ways, and he's lost a lot of weapons. But it's still Matt Ryan. I don't think he's as bad as a quarterback as some people make him out to be. However, I don't think this is going to happen. If it did happen, maybe it looks something like this. This is kind of a mock idea to give you at least a starting point. The Browns get Matt Ryan, and the Falcons receive Baker Mayfield, a 2022 second-round pick, and then like that Colts-Eagles trade, a 2023 second-round pick, but it's conditional, and it could turn into a first-round pick. I bet it would be pretty similar to that just because, while I think Ryan's a better quarterback than Carson Wentz, he's also older. I think this is a rough idea at least. I don't know. I don't work in the front office. But play GM for me. Be Andrew Berry. Would you do this trade for Matt Ryan? Give me an A for accept or a D for decline. Curious what you guys have to say about this. We'll go back and forth in the comment section because everyone knows YouTube commenters never get out of control. I personally would pass on Matt Ryan. I don't think Matt Ryan's a bad quarterback. I don't want that to be the takeaway. In fact, I think Matt Ryan is a sneaky good quarterback, and he's been the only stable thing in Atlanta since that 28-3 loss. But I just would ultimately go, you know what? I don't want to go and trade draft picks away from Matt Ryan. If Baker Mayfield doesn't work out in 2022, it's clear that the Browns will need to change at quarterback. I'd rather address that in the draft because if Baker Mayfield doesn't work out next year, then that probably means, unfortunately, I don't want to say it, but the Browns have a good draft pick, and that's a pick I would use on a quarterback. So let me know what you think down below. Make sure you subscribe as well to the Cleveland Browns Report. We're always putting out news and rumors content for you guys throughout the entire offseason, so we'd greatly appreciate it. Help a fellow Brownie out. Hit that big red button and subscribe because here's the deal, plain and simple. It's free videos throughout the entire offseason, and while you're subscribing, check out Chat Sports too. Like I said, mock drafts, trade rumors, all that good stuff we love throughout the offseason to help get us to the regular season. Check it out, youtube.com/chatsportstv, and we will catch you later here on the Cleveland Browns Report.